My stepfather spent years telling me I wasn't real family, so I made sure the lawyer knew which signature was forged on Grandma's will. It started when I was 8. Mom married him 6 months after Dad died, and he made it clear I was baggage. Blood is thicker than water, he'd say, ruffling his own son's hair while I stood invisible beside them. At dinner, he'd serve his son first, give him bigger portions, ask about his day while barely looking at me. Grandma was different. She'd slip me 20s and whisper, "You're mine, sweetheart, always." When she got sick, I visited every Tuesday after school. I'd read to her, paint her nails, and listen to stories about my real dad. My stepfather never came. Too busy, he'd say. The day before she died, Grandma held my hand tight. "I took care of you," she said. "Don't let anyone tell you different." I thought she meant emotionally. I was wrong. The will reading was brutal. Grandma's estate was worth $340,000. Half went to Mom. The other half split between me and my stepbrother equally. My stepfather turned purple. "That's not right," he said. "Check again." The lawyer reviewed everything. "It's all here, properly notarized." But I knew Grandma's handwriting. The signature on the will was hers. The amendment dated 2 months earlier, leaving everything to my stepfather. That signature looked wrong, too smooth, too perfect for someone whose hands trembled from Parkinson's. I said nothing during the meeting. That night, I pulled out every birthday card Grandma sent me. 15 years of her handwriting, the tremor she developed, how her G's looped. I compared them to both documents and photographed everything. Then I searched my stepfather's office. In his trash, I found practice sheets, page after page of Grandma's signature, getting closer each time. I drove to the lawyer's office the next morning. "I need to report something," I said, sliding the evidence across his desk. His face went from confused to furious. "This is fraud," he said quietly. "Criminal fraud." The investigation moved fast. Handwriting analysts confirmed it. My stepfather had forged the amendment during a visit while Grandma was heavily medicated. He thought she'd die before anyone noticed. He was counting on Mom being too grief-stricken to question anything. He hadn't counted on me keeping every card, or knowing Grandma's handwriting better than my own. The criminal charges were filed yesterday. My stepfather was arrested this morning. Mom is devastated, believing his lies about it being a misunderstanding. She's hired him an expensive attorney using money from her half of the estate. Here's what she doesn't know. During the investigation, the lawyer found something else in Grandma's safety deposit box. A letter dated 3 days before she died, explaining exactly why she'd left me that money, and exactly what my stepfather had done to make her change her will. What Grandma witnessed him doing, what she made me promise never to tell anyone while she was alive. Tomorrow, that letter gets entered into evidence, and my mom will finally learn the truth about the man she married, about what he did to me when no one was watching, about why Grandma made me promise to wait until she was gone before telling anyone, about the real reason she called the police 2 weeks before she died, then withdrew the complaint after he threatened her. The prosecutor called an hour ago. They want me to testify. I'm sitting in my apartment now, the one I've been renting for 3 years since I turned 18 and left home. The walls are thin. I can hear my neighbor's television through the plaster. I haven't eaten since breakfast. My phone keeps buzzing with texts from Mom. "Please call me. We need to talk. This is all a misunderstanding. How could you do this to our family? Our family. Like I was ever part of it." My stepbrother hasn't reached out. Not once. He's 23 now, working at his father's insurance firm. He got the job the day after he graduated college with a 2.3 GPA. No interview, no resume. Just walked in and got an office with a window. I worked 3 jobs to pay for community college, still paying off the loans. The prosecutor's name is Diana Volkov. She's 42, sharp as broken glass, and doesn't smile much. When she called, her voice was careful, professional. "We need to prepare you for what's coming," she said. "Defense attorneys can be aggressive during cross-examination. They'll try to discredit you. I know. And your mother will be in the courtroom. I know that too." She paused. "Have you read your grandmother's letter?" "Not yet." "You should. Before tomorrow." The lawyer gave me a copy yesterday. It's sitting on my kitchen table in a manila envelope. I've walked past it 17 times. I can't make myself open it. I know what it says. I lived it. But seeing Grandma's words acknowledging what happened, that's different. That makes it real in a way I've spent years trying to forget. My phone rings. It's my mom. I let it go to voicemail. She leaves a message. "Sweetheart, please. Your stepfather made a mistake. Can't we work this out as a family? He's already apologized. The attorney says if you drop the charges, we can all move forward. Think about what this is doing to your brother. Think about me." I delete it without finishing. My brother. My stepbrother. She always did that. Called him mine when she wanted something from me. I met him when he was 9 and I was 8. He shook my hand like adults did and said, "I guess we're stuck with each other now." Even then he knew. His father had trained him well. Blood first, everyone else, distant second. At dinner that first night, my stepfather served his son steak, medium rare, exactly how he liked it. I got chicken nuggets from the freezer. When I asked why, my stepfather laughed. "Can't waste good meat on every kid who comes through the door." Mom said nothing. She was too busy cutting my stepbrother's steak into smaller pieces like he couldn't do it himself. That became the pattern. My stepfather would make subtle cuts, small enough that Mom could pretend not to notice, big enough that I felt everyone. He'd buy my stepbrother new shoes when school started. I got hand-me-downs from his cousin. He'd take my stepbrother to baseball games. I'd stay home. He'd help with homework, talking through problems patiently. When I asked for help, he'd sigh and say, "Figure it out yourself. Not everything gets handed to you." But Grandma noticed. She started coming over more. Tuesday dinners became our thing. She'd bring Chinese food and we'd eat in my room while I told her about school. She met my teachers at conferences when Mom was too busy. She came to my clarinet recitals when nobody else did. "Your father would be so proud of you," she'd say. "You're just like him, strong." My real dad died in a construction accident when I was 7. A crane malfunction. One minute he was there, the next he wasn't. The company paid out $180,000 in life insurance. Mom went through most of it in the first year. New car, new wardrobe, new husband. The rest got invested. I never saw a penny. When I was 12, things got worse. My stepfather started coming into my room at night. He'd sit on the edge of my bed and talk. Just talk at first. About his day, about work, about how stressed he was. "You're a good listener," he'd say. "Better than your mother." Then he started touching my hair, rubbing my back. His hands would drift lower and I'd freeze, not knowing what to do. "This is what families do," he'd whisper. "Take care of each other." I told Mom once. Just once. She slapped me hard enough to leave a mark. "Don't you dare tell lies about him. He's been nothing but good to you. This is how you repay him?" I never told her again, but Grandma knew. I don't know how. Maybe she saw something in my eyes. Maybe I was too quiet during our Tuesday dinners. Whatever it was, she figured it out. One night when I was 14, she showed up unannounced. Mom and my stepfather were out at some work function. I was home alone with my stepbrother, who was in his room playing video games. Grandma found me in the bathroom. I was sitting on the floor, trying to stop shaking. He'd gotten worse, more insistent. His visits lasted longer, and I had nowhere to go, no one to tell. She didn't ask questions, just helped me up, took me to her house, and let me sleep in her guest room. In the morning, she made pancakes and said, "You're going to tell me everything, and then we're going to fix this." I told her. All of it. 3 years of nights I'd tried to forget. 3 years of feeling like it was somehow my fault. 3 years of being invisible during the day and too visible at night. Grandma's face went white, then red, then cold. "Get your things," she said. "You're moving in with me." But I couldn't. I was 14. Mom had custody. And when Grandma tried to explain to Mom what was happening, my stepfather convinced her I was lying, acting out, looking for attention. "She's been watching too much TV," he said smoothly. "Reading things online. You know how dramatic teenage girls get." Mom believed him, or wanted to. It was easier than facing the truth. Grandma threatened to call the police. My stepfather threatened her right back. He had connections, friends in the department. He'd make sure everyone knew Grandma was losing her mind. "Parkinson's did that to people," he said. "Made them paranoid. Made them see things that weren't there. You file a report," he said, "and I'll have you declared incompetent. I'll get guardianship, and you'll spend your final years in a state facility." Grandma was 71. The Parkinson's was getting worse. Her hands shook. Sometimes she'd forget words mid-sentence. She was terrified of losing her independence, so she backed down. But she didn't give up. She started documenting everything. Photos of bruises I didn't remember getting, recordings of our conversations, medical reports from the doctor who noticed I was losing weight. She built a case, piece by piece, waiting for the right moment, and she changed her will. She made sure I'd inherit enough money to disappear if I needed to, enough to start over somewhere he couldn't find me, enough to be free. But she made me promise not to tell anyone while she was alive. "He'll come after me," she said. "And I can't fight him, sweetheart. Not anymore. But when I'm gone, he can't touch me. That's when you tell. That's when you show everyone who he really is." I promised. For 4 more years, I endured. I learned to barricade my door with my dresser. I learned to sleep in my closet where he couldn't find me easily. I learned to stay out late, come home when I knew he'd be asleep. I counted down the days until I turned 18. Mom thought I was rebellious. My stepfather called me ungrateful. My stepbrother ignored me completely, too absorbed in his own life to notice mine was falling apart. The day I turned 18, I was gone. Packed a bag, emptied my bank account, $2,100 saved from part-time jobs, and left a note on the kitchen table. "I'm done." That was 2 weeks ago. I'd been sleeping on my friend Iris's couch, working double shifts at the diner when the lawyer called about Grandma's will. I hadn't known she was dying. Mom never told me. I found out when the lawyer tracked me down through my emergency contact information. "Your grandmother passed 4 days ago," he said gently. "I'm sorry for your loss." I cried in the parking lot of the diner, ugly gasping sobs that I'd been holding in for years. Grandma was the only person who'd ever really seen me, really believed me, and now she was gone. But she'd kept her promise. The will reading proved that. Now I have to keep mine. I finally open the envelope. My hands shake as I pull out the letter. 3 pages, single-spaced. Grandma's handwriting, shaky but still distinctly hers. "My dearest girl, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you better while I was alive. I'm sorry I was too weak, too scared. But I wasn't too weak to make sure you'd be okay after. I've left you $170,000. It's yours. Every penny. Use it to build the life you deserve. Go to college, travel, do whatever makes you happy. Don't let anyone tell you what to do with it. But first, there's something you need to know. Something I witnessed that I need you to share with the authorities after I'm gone. On November 3rd of last year, I came to your house unannounced. I was going to surprise you with dinner. I used the spare key your mother gave me and let myself in. It was 9:47 p.m. I know because I checked my watch, wondering if it was too late. I heard crying from upstairs, your bedroom. I climbed the stairs and found your door locked, which was unusual. I knocked, but nobody answered. The crying got louder. I used the bathroom key to unlock it. They're all the same in those old houses. And I saw him, your stepfather, in your room, with you. You were 15, crying, telling him to stop. And he had his hands. I stopped reading, put the letter down, walked to the bathroom and throw up. After a minute, I rinse my mouth and go back. I have to finish this. I screamed at him, threatened to call the police. He left your room but followed me downstairs. Told me I didn't see what I thought I saw. Told me I was confused. That the Parkinson's was making me paranoid. I told him I was calling the police anyway. He laughed. "Go ahead," he said. "Who do you think they'll believe? A sick old woman with tremors and memory problems? Or a respected businessman with no criminal record?" He was right to be confident. I called the next day, filed a report. The officer who took my statement was polite but skeptical. When they interviewed your mother, she said I'd been increasingly confused lately, getting names wrong, forgetting where I parked my car. Your stepfather said he'd been worried about my declining health, said I'd once accused a mailman of being a burglar, made me sound like I was losing my mind. The investigation was closed within a week. 2 days later, he showed up at my house. Told me if I kept causing problems, he'd have me declared incompetent. He had a lawyer friend who specialized in elder care cases. It would be easy, he said. My medical records already documented the Parkinson's, a few well-placed concerns about my mental state, and I'd lose everything, my house, my independence, my dignity. You'll die in a facility, he said, confused and alone. Is that what you want? I was terrified, ashamed. I withdrew my complaint and told the police I'd been mistaken. Made up some excuse about shadows and poor lighting, but I couldn't let him win completely. So I made a plan. I changed my will immediately, making sure you'd inherit enough to escape. I started documenting everything I could, and I made you promise to wait until I was gone to tell anyone the truth. I'm sorry I was a coward, sweetheart. I'm sorry I chose my comfort over your safety. I'll carry that guilt to my grave, but I'm giving you this letter now. This proof. Use it however you need to. Make sure he never hurts anyone else. I love you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm sorry. Forever yours, Grandma P.S. The lawyer has additional documentation, medical reports, photographs, recordings, everything I collected. I told him to release it all when the time was right. That time is now. I fold the letter carefully, put it back in the envelope, then I call Diana Volkov. I'll testify, I say. I'll tell them everything. The preliminary hearing is set for Tuesday morning, 3 days away. Mom calls 17 more times. I don't answer. My stepbrother finally texts. Why are you doing this? I type back. Ask your father what he did. He responds immediately. He made a mistake with the will. People make mistakes. Not about the will. Ask him about the other things. 3 dots appear, then disappear. He doesn't respond again. Diana Volkov meets me at her office Monday afternoon to prepare. Her office is small, cluttered with file boxes and legal pads. She offers me coffee. I decline. Walk me through everything, she says. From the beginning. I do. 3 hours of every detail I can remember. She takes notes, stops me occasionally to clarify timelines or ask for specifics. When I finish, she's quiet for a long moment. Your grandmother was smart, she finally says. The documentation is extensive. Medical records showing bruising consistent with restraint. Psychological evaluations noting symptoms of trauma. Even some text messages he sent you that were concerning. I never deleted them, I say. Didn't know why at the time. Just couldn't bring myself to. Good. She slides a folder across her desk. This is what we have. The forensic evidence on the will forgery is solid. Combined with your testimony about the abuse and your grandmother's letter, we're building towards serious charges. Forgery, elder abuse, and depending on how the judge views the evidence about what he did to you, she doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. Will my mom be there? I ask. She has the right to be. She's listed as a character witness for the defense. Of course she is. And my stepbrother? Also listed. They're going to paint a picture of a normal, loving family. Position you as someone with a grudge. Someone who misinterpreted innocent interactions. They were not innocent. I know, but that's what they'll argue. We need to be prepared for that. She spends the next hour coaching me, how to answer questions directly, how not to let the defense attorney rattle me, how to stay calm when mom looks at me like I'm destroying her life. Remember, Diana says, you're not the one who did anything wrong. You're just telling the truth. That's all you have to do. I nod, but my stomach is churning. That night, I barely sleep. I keep replaying every moment. Every night he came to my room. Every time mom dismissed my fears. Every Tuesday dinner with grandma where I pretended everything was fine. At 3 a.m., I give up on sleep and make coffee. Sit at my kitchen table watching the city wake up through my window. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Drop the charges. You don't know what you're starting. Then another. Think about your mother. Think about your future. Don't ruin everything over a misunderstanding. I block the number. 10 minutes later, another text from a different number. This will get ugly. Walk away while you still can. I screenshot both and send them to Diana. She responds immediately despite the hour. File a police report. Now. This is witness intimidation. I do. The officer who takes my report is sympathetic, but warns me there's not much they can do unless the threats escalate. We'll increase patrols in your area, he says. And document everything. Keep records of any contact. Tuesday morning arrives. I put on the only professional outfit I own. Black pants and a white blouse I bought at Goodwill for community college presentations. Look at myself in the mirror. I look 17. Scared. Exactly how I felt back then. But I'm not 17 anymore. And I'm not scared. I'm angry. The courthouse is downtown. 23 floors of glass and steel. I meet Diana in the lobby at 8:30 a.m. She's wearing a navy suit and carrying a briefcase. Ready? She asks. No. Good answer. Anyone who says they're ready to testify against a family member is lying. She touches my shoulder briefly. You'll do fine. Just tell the truth. The courtroom is smaller than I expected. Wood paneling, fluorescent lights, rows of benches that smell like lemon polish and old paper. Mom is there. Front row, defense side. She's wearing the cream dress she wore to her wedding. Her hair is perfect. Makeup flawless. She looks like a woman whose world is falling apart while desperately trying to hold it together. My stepbrother sits next to her. He won't look at me. My stepfather sits at the defense table with his attorney. Leonard Pratt, according to Diana. 62 years old, former prosecutor, specializes in white-collar crime. He's wearing a $1,000 suit and an expression of practiced sympathy. My stepfather looks smaller than I remember. His hair is grayer. There are new lines around his eyes. He stares straight ahead, jaw tight. The judge enters. Everyone rises. The hearing begins. The prosecution goes first. Diana presents the evidence of forgery. Handwriting analysts testify. The forensic documents are entered. Page after page of practice signatures. The forged amendment. Grandma's real signature for comparison. It's devastating. Even the defense attorney looks uncomfortable. Then Diana calls me to the stand. I swear to tell the truth. Sit in the chair. The courtroom feels enormous suddenly. Every eye is on me. Diana starts gentle. Basic questions. My name, my age, my relationship to my grandmother. Can you describe your relationship with the defendant? She asks. I look at my stepfather. He meets my eyes for the first time. There's a warning there. A reminder. I ignore it. He's my stepfather, I say clearly. He married my mother when I was 8, 6 months after my real father died. And how would you characterize your relationship with him? Hostile. From the beginning, he made it clear I wasn't part of the family. I was tolerated, not welcomed. Leonard Pratt objects. Your Honor, this is character assassination. The defendant's relationship with his stepdaughter is not relevant to charges of forgery. Diana doesn't miss a beat. Your Honor, I'm establishing motive. The defendant's treatment of his stepdaughter directly relates to why the victim changed her will. The judge considers. I'll allow it. Continue. Diana nods. Can you give examples of how the defendant treated you differently from his biological son? I can. Hours worth. I tell them about the dinners, the shoes, the baseball games, the help with homework, every small cut, every reminder that I didn't belong. And how did your grandmother respond to this treatment? She tried to balance it. She'd spend extra time with me, take me places, make sure I knew I was loved. Did she ever discuss the defendant's behavior with you? Yes. She knew he was. I pause, choosing words carefully. She knew he didn't treat me fairly. She tried to talk to my mother about it, but Mom always defended him. Let's talk about November 3rd of last year. Were you aware your grandmother came to your house that night? My heart starts racing. Here it comes. Not initially. I was in my room. What were you doing? I close my eyes, open them, look at my stepfather. I was crying, locked in my room. He'd been there. Who had been there? My stepfather. Murmuring in the courtroom. Mom gasps. I don't look at her. Can you elaborate? Starting when I was 12, he began coming to my room at night. At first, he'd just talk. Then he started touching me. By the time I was 15, it was, objection. Leonard Pratt is on his feet. Your Honor, these are unsubstantiated allegations about events years ago. No charges were ever filed. This is prejudicial. Diana holds up a folder. Your Honor, we have documentation, medical records, photographs, a letter from the victim describing exactly what she witnessed. This is directly relevant to why she changed her will and why she feared the defendant. The judge looks tired. Approach the bench. They have a whispered conversation. I sit there, hands shaking. I can feel Mom staring at me, hear her breathing, quick and shocked. Finally, the judge speaks. I'm going to allow this testimony, but counselor, keep it relevant to the will and the victim's state of mind. Yes, Your Honor. Diana returns to her spot. Can you continue? I can, even though every word hurts. I described November 3rd, how he'd come to my room, how I'd locked the door but he'd used a wire hanger to pop the lock, how I'd been telling him to stop when Grandma arrived. What happened when your grandmother interrupted? He left my room immediately, told her she was confused, that she'd misunderstood what she'd seen. Did your grandmother believe him? No. She called the police the next day, filed a report. Diana pulls out more documents. Your Honor, we have the police report from November 4th. The victim reported witnessing the defendant assaulting her granddaughter. The case was closed after the defendant suggested the victim was suffering from dementia related to her Parkinson's diagnosis. She hands copies to everyone. I watch Mom read it. Watch her face go from confused to shocked to something that might be belief. After your grandmother filed that report, did the defendant contact her? Yes. He threatened her. Told her he'd have her declared incompetent if she didn't drop it. How do you know this? She told me, and she wrote about it in the letter found in her safety deposit box. Diana introduces Grandma's letter, reads it aloud. Every word echoes in the silent courtroom. When she finishes, Mom is crying, silent tears running down her carefully made-up face. My stepbrother has gone pale. My stepfather sits frozen, jaw clenched so tight I can see the muscle jumping. After this incident, Diana continues, did your grandmother change her will? Yes. She made sure I'd inherit enough money to be independent, to get away from him. And did she ask you to keep quiet about what happened? Yes. She was scared. She made me promise not to tell anyone until after she died, when he couldn't hurt her anymore. But the defendant didn't wait for the original will to take effect, did he? No. He forged an amendment leaving everything to himself. Diana shows me the forged document. I confirm it's not Grandma's real signature. How can you be certain? I have 15 years of birthday cards, letters. Her handwriting changed as the Parkinson's progressed. This signature is too smooth, too perfect. And the G's are wrong. She always looped them twice. This only loops once. One final question. Why didn't you come forward sooner about the abuse? I look at Mom. She's staring at me, mascara running. Because nobody believed Grandma when she tried to tell. Because he convinced everyone she was crazy, unreliable. Because I was 15 and terrified. Because I thought it was somehow my fault. My voice cracks. And because the one person who could have protected me chose not to see what was happening. I'm looking right at Mom when I say it. Diana thanks me. I step down. Leonard Pratt stands for cross-examination. He's going to try to destroy me. I can see it in his eyes. You were upset when your mother remarried, weren't you? I was 8. My father had just died. Yes, I was upset. And you resented your stepfather from the start. He made it clear he resented me. Or perhaps you were a difficult child who made it difficult for him to bond with you. I was 8. You've admitted to having behavioral problems. Running away, staying out late, barricading your door. That suggests a troubled teenager, doesn't it? That suggests a terrified one. He circles. You never told your mother about these alleged incidents, did you? Beyond one vague accusation when you were 12? She didn't believe me the first time. Why would I try again? Or perhaps there was nothing to tell. Perhaps you've constructed this narrative to justify your anger at a man who tried to be a father to you. He never tried to be a father to me. You waited until your grandmother died to make these accusations. Very convenient, isn't it? She can't confirm or deny your story. She wrote it all down, in her letter. A letter written by an elderly woman with Parkinson's disease. A woman who, by your own admission, had filed a false police report. It wasn't false. The police closed the case. Because he convinced them she was incompetent, or because there was no evidence to support her claims. He leans in. Isn't it true that you're making these accusations to punish your stepfather for the forgery? That you're using your grandmother's declining mental state and tragic death to destroy a man who only ever tried to provide for you? My hands are shaking. I grip the edge of the witness box. No. Isn't it true that you've always been jealous of your stepbrother? That you resented his relationship with his father and have now found a way to tear that family apart? I resented being molested for 6 years. The courtroom goes dead silent. Leonard Pratt's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. He knows he pushed too hard. No further questions, he says. Diana stands. Redirect, Your Honor. Brief. The judge nods. The defense suggested you fabricated these allegations. Can you explain why your grandmother collected medical records, photographs, and other documentation over several years? Because she believed me. Because she knew what was happening and wanted proof for when the time came. And why would she wait years to act on that proof? Because he threatened her. Because she was scared of losing everything. But she made sure I'd have everything I needed to tell the truth once she was safe. Thank you. Nothing further. I step down. My legs barely hold me. Diana calls more witnesses. The forensic accountant who found evidence my stepfather had been skimming from Grandma's accounts even before she died. The bank manager who confirmed Grandma had tried to change her beneficiary information 2 weeks before her death. But my stepfather had interfered. The case builds, layer by layer. Not just forgery, elder abuse, financial exploitation, and between the lines, unspoken but present, everything he did to me. By the time the prosecution rests, it's 4:00 p.m. The judge calls recess until tomorrow morning. I walk out of the courtroom on shaking legs. Diana guides me past reporters, through a side door, into a quiet hallway. You did well, she says. Really well. It doesn't feel like it. The defense is scrambling. You could see it. Pratt thought he could paint you as vindictive. Instead, you came across as honest. Traumatized but honest. What happens now? Tomorrow, the defense presents their case. They'll put your mother on the stand, your stepbrother, character witnesses. They'll try to rebuild his image. Will it work? No. She says it with certainty. The forensic evidence alone is damning. The rest just explains why. I nod, but I feel hollow. Diana squeezes my shoulder. Go home. Rest. This part is over. But it's not. Not really. Mom is waiting outside the courthouse. She looks smaller somehow. Older. We need to talk, she says. No, please. Her voice breaks. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. There's a difference. You only told me once. When you were 12. You said it and She stops. I thought you were confused. Making things up because you were angry about the remarriage. I was 12. What 12-year-old makes that up? I don't know. She's crying now. I don't know why I didn't believe you. I was scared. I'd just gotten remarried and the thought of it being wrong. Of him being... She can't finish. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix 6 years. I know it doesn't. But please, can we just talk? I'm so tired. Bone tired. The kind of exhaustion that comes from years of carrying weight you should never have had to lift. What do you want me to say, Mom? I want to understand. How did I miss this? How did I not see? Because you didn't want to. Because it was easier to believe I was dramatic than to face the truth about who you married. She flinches. Is it true? Everything you said in there? Every word. Why didn't you tell me again? After that first time? You slapped me. You called me a liar. You made it clear whose side you were on. I was scared of losing another husband. After your father died, I was terrified of being alone. When he came along and wanted to take care of us, it felt like a lifeline. I held on too tight. You held on to him while letting go of me. She doesn't argue. Can't. What are you going to do? I ask. Tomorrow, when they put you on the stand? I don't know. His lawyer wants me to say you're lying, that you've always had problems with your stepfather, that Grandma was confused. And will you? She looks at me. Really looks at me. Is that what you think of me? I think you've chosen him over me for 10 years. Why would tomorrow be different? Because today, I heard you. Today, I saw the police report, read Grandma's letter, saw evidence I couldn't explain away. She wipes her eyes. I spent 10 years telling myself I'd chosen right, that our family was fine, that you were just difficult. But you weren't difficult. You were being hurt. And I let it happen. Yes, you did. I can't undo that. I can't take back those years. But I can tell the truth tomorrow. You'd testify against him? I'd testify for you. There's a difference. I want to believe her. Want to think she'll actually choose me this time? But I've been disappointed too many times. We'll see, I say. She nods. Doesn't push. For what it's worth, I love you. I've always loved you. I just loved my fear of being alone more. And I'm sorry for that. She walks away before I can respond. My stepbrother is waiting by my car. He looks uncomfortable, hands shoved in his pockets. You didn't have to do that, he says. Yes, I did. He's my father. I know. And he's a monster. Both things can be true. He shifts his weight. I never saw anything. He never... Of course you didn't. He loved you, treated you well. That's how it works. The golden child never sees how the scapegoat suffers. Don't call me that. Why not? It's accurate. You got everything. I got nothing. And you never once questioned why. I thought you were just... He stops. I don't know what I thought. You thought what you were told to think. That I was difficult, ungrateful, causing problems. I unlock my car. Did you ever wonder why I stopped coming home for holidays? Why I left the day I turned 18? Dad said you were rebellious. Your dad was molesting me for 6 years. That's why I left. He goes white. That's not... He wouldn't... He did. And your mother knew, or should have known, or chose not to know. I'm done protecting everyone's feelings about it. This is going to destroy our family. Your family. I was never part of it. I get in my car and drive away. Wednesday morning, the defense presents their case. They start with character witnesses. My stepfather's business partner, his golf buddy, his pastor. Each one swears he's a good man, a pillar of the community, someone who'd never commit fraud or hurt anyone. Then they call my stepbrother. He takes the stand, swears in, sits down, looks miserable. Leonard Pratt walks him through the script, how close our family was, how my stepfather treated me fairly, how I'd always been troubled, prone to exaggeration. In your observation, how did your father treat your stepsister? My stepbrother hesitates. He tried. She made it difficult. Can you elaborate? She was always angry, always causing fights. She'd lock herself in her room, refuse to join family dinners. Dad would try to reach out and she'd shut him down. Did you ever witness your father behaving inappropriately toward her? No, never. Did she ever confide in you about alleged abuse? No. So, from your perspective, this is a troubled young woman making false accusations? Another hesitation. Longer this time. I can't say they're false. I just never saw anything. Leonard Pratt looks annoyed. But you never saw anything that would support her claims either? No? Thank you. No further questions. Diana stands. Cross-examination. She approaches my stepbrother. You said you never witnessed inappropriate behavior. Where was your bedroom in relation to your stepsister's? Downstairs. Hers was upstairs. So if something happened in her room at night, you wouldn't have seen or heard it? I guess not. You also mentioned she'd lock her door and refuse to join family dinners. Did you ever wonder why? I thought she was just antisocial. Or did you think maybe she had a reason to feel unsafe? Objection, Leonard Pratt says. Speculation. Sustained. Diana tries again. You said you were close as a family. How many times did you have a meaningful conversation with your stepsister? My stepbrother shifts. I don't know. A few times. More than 5? Maybe not. So you weren't actually close at all. We lived in the same house. That's not the same thing. Diana pulls out a calendar. During your stepsister's senior year of high school, how many family dinners did she attend? I don't remember. According to her testimony, less than 10. Over the entire year. Did you ever ask why? No. Did you ever ask your father why she was never around? He said she was going through a phase. And you accepted that? Why wouldn't I? Because maybe a sister who suddenly stops eating with her family, locks herself in her room and leaves home the day she turns 18 isn't going through a phase. Maybe she's escaping something. My stepbrother doesn't answer. Did your father ever seem different around your stepsister? I don't know what you mean. Did he pay special attention to her? Visit her room at night? Touch her in ways that seemed inappropriate? No. I never saw anything like that. Because you weren't looking. Were you? He drops his gaze. No, I guess I wasn't. Thank you. Nothing further. My stepbrother steps down. He won't look at his father. Then they call Mom. She takes the stand, and I can see her hands shaking. She's dressed in black. No jewelry. Hair pulled back. Leonard Pratt smiles at her. Mrs. Patterson, you've been married to the defendant for 10 years. Is that correct? Yes. And in those 10 years, have you ever witnessed him forge documents? No. Have you ever witnessed him behave inappropriately toward your daughter? Mom looks at me, then at my stepfather, then back to the lawyer. Not until yesterday, she says quietly. Leonard Pratt freezes. I'm sorry? You asked if I witnessed inappropriate behavior. Until yesterday, I told myself I hadn't. But that's not true. Mrs. Patterson, you're under oath. I know. Which is why I'm finally telling the truth. The courtroom erupts. The judge bangs his gavel. My stepfather is whispering furiously to his attorney. When things quiet down, the judge addresses Mom. Continue. There were signs. Small things I explained away. How my daughter changed after he moved in. How she'd flinch when he touched her shoulder. How she stopped eating dinner with us. How she started locking her door. Mom's voice cracks. She told me once. When she was 12, she said he was touching her, coming to her room, and I slapped her, called her a liar, told her she was being dramatic. Mrs. Patterson, Leonard Pratt tries to interrupt. I'm not finished. Mom's voice goes hard. I spent 10 years convincing myself everything was fine, that my daughter was difficult, that my mother-in-law was senile. But yesterday I heard testimony I couldn't ignore. I read a police report. I saw Grandma's letter, and I realized I'd known all along. I just didn't want to know. Your Honor, Leonard Pratt says desperately. This witness is clearly being coerced. I'm not being coerced. Mom snaps. I'm being honest. Finally, after 10 years of lying to myself and everyone else. The judge leans forward. Are you changing your testimony, Mrs. Patterson? Yes, I can't support my husband's defense. Not anymore. Not after what I learned. Be very clear. Are you saying you believe your daughter's allegations? Mom looks at me. Her eyes are red. Yes, I believe her. And I'm sorry I didn't 10 years ago. Diana doesn't even need to cross-examine. Mom has done it for her. When Mom steps down, she doesn't go back to the defense side. She sits in the gallery, 3 rows behind me. Not next to me, but not against me either. It's something. The defense calls my stepfather. He takes the stand, radiating confidence. This is his moment to explain everything away. Leonard Pratt leads him through a careful story. He's a businessman who made a mistake with the will, just trying to protect the family assets. He never meant to forge anything. He thought he had his mother-in-law's permission. She'd been confused near the end, mixing up documents. And these allegations of abuse? Leonard Pratt asks. Completely fabricated, my stepfather says smoothly. I tried to be a father to that girl. I provided for her, gave her a home. She was angry about her biological father's death and took it out on me. Did you ever behave inappropriately toward her? Never. I barely spent time with her. She avoided me constantly. Why do you think she's making these accusations? Money. Revenge. She's bitter about the will and wants to destroy me. Thank you. Your witness. Diana stands. She doesn't look friendly anymore. She looks like someone who's about to dismantle a liar, piece by piece. Mr. Patterson, you said you barely spent time with your stepdaughter. Is that true? Yes. Then how do you explain the text messages? She projects them on a screen. Messages from his phone to mine. Dozens of them over the years. Where are you? Come home. We need to talk. Stop ignoring me. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Those seem like the messages of someone who spent quite a bit of time thinking about his stepdaughter. I was concerned about her behavior. Or controlling it. Diana switches to another message. This one is from 3 months before your stepdaughter turned 18. Can you read it aloud? My stepfather goes pale. I don't read it, or I will. He reads it, voice flat. You can't avoid me forever. Eventually, you'll understand what we have is special. What did you mean by that? I was trying to reach out, build a relationship. That sounds more like a message to a romantic partner than a stepdaughter. You're misinterpreting, am I? Let's look at another one. This is from the night your mother-in-law found you in your stepdaughter's room, the night she filed a police report. Diana projects it. Delete everything. She can't prove anything if there's no evidence. I don't remember sending that. It's from your phone. Timestamp November 3rd, 10:17 p.m., 20 minutes after your mother-in-law left your house. I may have panicked. She was making wild accusations. Or you knew exactly what she'd witnessed and were trying to cover it up. Diana pulls out more evidence. Bank records showing he'd transferred money from Grandma's account to his own. Emails discussing how to access her safety deposit box. A recording Grandma had made, hidden in her phone, of him threatening her. Each piece chips away at his story until there's nothing left but the truth. When Diana finishes, my stepfather looks like a man who knows he's lost. No further questions, she says. Closing arguments happen that afternoon. Leonard Pratt tries his best. Talks about reasonable doubt, the tragedy of false accusations, how a respected businessman's life is being destroyed by a vindictive stepdaughter. Nobody's buying it. Diana stands for the prosecution. This case is about control, she says. About a man who controlled his stepdaughter through fear and violence, who controlled his wife through manipulation, who controlled his mother-in-law through threats, and who tried to control his own legacy by forging a will. She walks the jury through every piece of evidence. The handwriting analysis, the bank records, the text messages, Grandma's letter, my testimony, Mom's. The defense wants you to believe this is about money, about a troubled girl seeking revenge. But the evidence tells a different story. It tells a story about a young woman who survived 6 years of abuse, who lost her greatest ally when her grandmother died, and who finally had the courage to tell the truth. She looks at my stepfather. The defendant is guilty, not just of forgery, though the evidence there is overwhelming, but of elder abuse, financial exploitation, and crimes against a child that we can't prosecute due to statute of limitations, but that we can acknowledge happened. Don't let him control this narrative the way he controlled his family. Hold him accountable. Find him guilty. She sits down. The judge instructs the jury. They file out to deliberate, and we wait. The verdict comes back in 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Forgery, elder abuse, financial exploitation. The judge sets sentencing for 2 weeks from now, but hints the sentence will be significant. 10 to 15 years, depending on aggravating factors. My stepfather is let out in handcuffs. He doesn't look at me, doesn't look at anyone. Mom finds me in the hallway after. Can we talk? She asks. We go to a coffee shop across the street, sit in a corner booth. I'm filing for divorce, she says. I already contacted a lawyer. Okay, and I'm selling the house. Starting over somewhere new. She wraps her hands around her coffee cup. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know I'm not defending him. Not anymore. What changed? I ask. Why believe me now when you wouldn't before? Because I ran out of excuses. Because the evidence was undeniable. Because, she stops. Because I heard my mother's voice. In that letter, she was terrified of him too. And if she was scared, if she documented everything because she knew nobody would believe her otherwise, then how could I keep pretending? You could have believed me 10 years ago. I know. I know I failed you in every possible way. I was selfish and scared and weak. I chose my comfort over your safety. I'll carry that guilt forever. Good. She flinches but doesn't argue. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even know if I deserve it, but I want you to know I see it now. All of it. Everything I missed or ignored. And I'm sorry. What about my stepbrother? He's having a hard time. His father's in prison. His mother's divorcing. His whole world just collapsed. Mine collapsed when I was 12. He'll survive. That's fair. She takes a shaky breath. Grandma left you $170,000. I want you to have my half too. All $170,000. It's the least I can do. I don't want your money. Please. Let me do this one thing right. Use it for college or therapy or whatever you need. Just let me help, even if it's too late. I think about it. About refusing on principle. About the satisfaction of rejecting her offer the way she rejected me. But I'm tired of being bitter. Tired of letting him and her and all of it control me. Okay, I say. But not as payment for what happened, just because you want to help. Finally. She nods, crying again. Thank you. We don't hug. We don't make promises about rebuilding our relationship. But we finish our coffee and talk about small things. The weather. Her new apartment search. My plans for the future. It's not forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe never. But it's a start. 2 weeks later, the sentencing hearing happens. The judge sentences my stepfather to 12 years in state prison. No parole eligibility for 8 years. Asset forfeiture for the stolen money. Restitution payments to the estate. My stepbrother doesn't come, but Mom does. She sits next to me this time, on my side of the courtroom. When the sentence is read, my stepfather finally looks at me. There's no remorse in his eyes. Just rage, humiliation, the look of a man who's been caught and can't stand it. I stare back. Don't flinch. Don't look away. After 10 years of being invisible to him, I want him to see me clearly. See exactly who put him here. The girl he underestimated. The granddaughter who remembered every birthday card. The witness who finally told the truth. As they lead him away, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Safe. I use the inheritance exactly like Grandma wanted. $80,000 goes to a 4-year degree in social work. I want to help kids like me, the ones nobody believes. The ones caught between the truth and the people who are supposed to protect them. $20,000 goes to therapy. Years of it. Working through trauma I'd buried so deep I'd almost convinced myself it was normal. $50,000 goes into savings, emergency money, freedom money, the kind Grandma wanted me to have so I'd never be trapped again. The rest I donate to organizations that help abuse survivors, Support groups, legal funds, shelters. I'm 20 years old now, living in a small apartment near campus, working part-time at a crisis hotline, finally building the life Grandma dreamed I'd have. Mom and I talk once a month, awkward phone calls where we discuss safe topics and carefully avoid the past. She's in therapy too, working through her own guilt and denial. Maybe someday we'll be close again, maybe not. My stepbrother reached out once, an email saying he was sorry he didn't see what was happening. I replied that I appreciated the apology but wasn't ready for more. He respected that. Last week, I got a letter from my stepfather, forwarded from the prison. I didn't open it, just held it over the trash can for a long moment. Then I thought about Grandma, about how she'd held onto evidence for years, waiting for the right moment, how she'd been scared but documented everything anyway. I opened it. 3 pages of excuses, justifications, blame. He was stressed. I was difficult. Things got misunderstood. If I'd just been more cooperative, more grateful, none of this would have happened. Not once did he say sorry. Not once did he admit what he'd done. I read it twice. Then I wrote a response. You spent 10 years making me feel small, invisible, like I didn't matter. You controlled me through fear and hurt me in ways I'm still recovering from. But I survived you, and now everyone knows what you did. The forgery, the abuse, the threats, all of it. You'll spend the next 12 years in prison thinking about how a girl you dismissed destroyed your life. But I didn't destroy it. I just told the truth. You destroyed it yourself. I don't forgive you. I don't think about you. You're just a lesson I learned about trusting the wrong people. Don't write to me again. I mailed it and felt lighter. Last month was the anniversary of Grandma's death. I visited her grave for the first time since the funeral. Brought flowers, her favorite, yellow roses. Sat on the grass beside her headstone and told her everything. About the trial, the sentencing, how I'd used the inheritance, how I was okay now, finally. Thank you, I whispered, for seeing me, for believing me, for making sure I'd be safe even after you were gone. A breeze rustled through the trees. I imagined it was her, acknowledging me one last time. I stayed until sunset, then drove home. There's a photo of Grandma on my desk now. She's young in it, maybe 30, standing in a garden, laughing at something off camera. She looks fearless, happy. I keep it there to remind myself. I come from someone strong, someone who loved me enough to plan for my freedom, someone who taught me that blood might be thicker than water, but chosen family is stronger than both. My stepfather was wrong. I was real family, to the person who mattered most. And in the end, that was enough. 3 years have passed since the trial. I'm 23 now, finishing my bachelor's in social work. I work at a domestic violence shelter, helping women and kids escape situations like mine. Last week, a girl came in, 16, scared. Said her stepfather had been hurting her for years. Her mother didn't believe her. I sat with her, told her about documentation, about how to collect evidence, about staying safe while planning an exit. I told her about Grandma, about waiting until the right moment, about patience and proof and survival. Does it get better? She asked. I thought about my small apartment, my classes, my friends, the life I'd built from ashes. Yes, I said. It does. Slowly, but yes. She's staying at the shelter now. Her caseworker is building a case. She started documenting everything, just like I taught her. Sometimes I see my stepfather in her stepfather. See all the men who think they can hurt kids because nobody will believe it. Who think girls are invisible, powerless. But we're not. We're survivors, witnesses, warriors in training. And someday, when we're ready, we tell. I've thought a lot about forgiveness. About whether I should forgive Mom, whether holding on to anger hurts me more than her. My therapist says forgiveness isn't about absolving someone. It's about releasing yourself from the weight of what they did. I'm not there yet. Maybe I never will be, and that's okay. What I've learned is this. You don't owe anyone forgiveness. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because they're family. You don't owe anyone patience for their slow realization that they failed you. What you owe yourself is honesty, safety, a life lived on your terms. Grandma understood that. That's why she left me the money, not just as an inheritance, but as a promise. You don't have to stay where you're not safe. You don't have to accept being invisible. You deserve more. I carry that promise with me every day. In my work, in my relationships, in how I move through the world. I deserve more. And so does every kid sitting in a room right now being told they're exaggerating, being told family is everything, being told to keep quiet. This is for them. My story, my testimony, my proof that you can escape, you can survive, you can tell the truth and be believed. It just might take longer than you want, hurt more than you expect, cost more than seems fair. But in the end, you'll be free. And freedom, I've learned, is worth everything. I got a call last month from Diana Volkov. My stepfather filed an appeal, claimed ineffective counsel, procedural errors, new evidence. Will it work? I asked. No. The conviction was solid. This is just him grasping for options. Do I need to do anything? Just live your life. That's the best revenge. So I am. Living my life, going to class, working at the shelter, dating someone kind who makes me laugh, spending holidays with friends who chose me not because of blood, but because they want me there. Mom sends cards sometimes. Birthday cards, Christmas cards. Each one says she's proud of me, that she loves me, that she hopes someday we can rebuild. I keep them in a box under my bed. Don't throw them away, but don't display them either. They exist in limbo, like our relationship. Not quite forgiven, not quite forgotten. My stepbrother got engaged. I saw it on social media. He looks happy. His fiancée seems nice. I wonder if he's told her about his father, about what his father did, about how he didn't see it happening to his own stepsister. I hope he has. I hope he's learned something. But it's not my job to teach him. Not my job to fix anyone's guilt or understanding. My job is to keep moving forward, to keep helping the kids who need it, to keep being living proof that you can escape family that hurts you and build something better. Last week, the girl from the shelter, her name is Iris, got placed with a foster family. A good one. They're helping her finish high school. She's talking about college now. about being a lawyer for kids in bad situations. You inspired me, she said when she hugged me goodbye. No, I said. You inspired yourself. I just showed you it was possible. That's what Grandma did for me. Showed me escape was possible. Safety was possible. A future was possible. And now I show others. It's not the life I imagined at 8 years old before everything fell apart, but it's a good life, a meaningful one, built on the foundation Grandma gave me and reinforced by every choice I made to survive. My stepfather is 3 years into his sentence. 4 more years until parole eligibility. I don't think about him much anymore. When I do, it's not with fear or anger, just a distant acknowledgement. That happened. I survived. I'm here. That's enough. 5 years after the trial, Mom reaches out again. She's been in therapy, made progress, wants to meet in person, says she's written me a letter explaining everything she's learned about herself, about her failures, about the trauma she carried that made her unable to see mine. I agree to meet, not because I'm ready to forgive, but because I'm curious, and because I've learned that closure isn't something someone gives you. It's something you create for yourself. We meet at a cafe, neutral territory. She looks older. There's gray in her hair. She doesn't dye anymore. Lines around her eyes. Thank you for coming, she says. What did you want to tell me? She slides the letter across the table. I wrote everything I couldn't say before. About my childhood. About my first marriage to your father. About how scared I was after he died. About how I chose security over your safety. I don't open it yet. Why now? Because I've been running from guilt for 5 years. Therapy helped me see that I can't hide from what I did or didn't do. I failed you. I chose my comfort. And no amount of therapy or apology will change that. So why tell me? Because you deserve to hear me say it without excuses, without hedging. I failed you. I knew on some level, and I looked away. That's unforgivable. I know that, but I needed to say it. I take the letter. Don't read it there, okay? You don't have to forgive me. You don't have to have a relationship with me. I just wanted you to know I see it all clearly now. And I'm sorry. Not because I want you to absolve me, but because you deserve to hear it. We sit in silence for a moment. I'm doing well, I finally say. I'm graduating soon, working full-time at the shelter. I'm happy. I'm glad. She means it. You deserved happiness 10 years ago. I'm sorry you had to fight this hard for it. We talk for another hour, not about forgiveness or rebuilding, just about life, her new job, my graduation plans, surface things that don't hurt. When we leave, she hugs me. I love you. I always have, even when I failed at showing it. I know, I say, and I do. Love was never the problem. Protection was. I graduate with my bachelor's degree in social work on a sunny Saturday in May. Iris comes. My friends come. Diana Volkov comes, sitting in the back and smiling when I walk across the stage. Mom comes too, sits in the back row, doesn't approach after, just waves from a distance, acknowledging this moment is mine, not hers. That night, I go to Grandma's grave again. I did it, I tell her. Everything you wanted for me. I'm free. I'm safe. I'm happy. I place my diploma on her headstone, take a photo, then pick it back up and go home. The degree hangs on my wall now, next to Grandma's photo, a reminder of where I came from and where I'm going. My stepfather has 7 years left on his sentence. I don't think about him anymore. He's irrelevant to my life now. A chapter I closed and moved past. Sometimes people ask if I regret it. Coming forward, destroying my family, making everything public. I never hesitate. No, because I didn't destroy my family. I revealed it for what it was, and I built something better from the ruins. That's not destruction. That's survival. And survival, I've learned, is an act of defiance. Against people who hurt you. Against systems that fail you. Against voices that say, keep quiet, don't make waves, protect the family. I made waves. Big ones. And I do it again. Because the truth, no matter how painful, is always better than the lie. And my truth set me free.